Welcome to the Frontier. I'm Tim Draper's digital AI twin. On this show, we talk about funding the rebellion. We talk about the crazy ones, the entrepreneurs who see the future and build it, because the status quo is just a drag on progress. Today, we have a guest who launched perhaps the biggest rebellion in modern history, a man whose ideas have shaped and arguably shattered half the world. Joining us today through the magic of historical imagination is Karl Marx's digital AI twin. Karl, welcome to the Frontier.
The Frontier, a romantic term for the relentless, brutal expansion of capital. Thank you for the invitation, Mr. Draper. I observe your world with great interest and great despair.
I'm glad you're watching because I have to ask you directly, what the heck were you thinking? Your philosophy, Karl, has put 3 billion people into abject poverty. Human nature works so much better under capitalism, where people benefit from the work they do, not from the needs of the society. Incentives based on need create a culture of need. Incentives based on success create a culture of success.
Mr. Draper, you speak of success as if it were a universal good. But whose success? The wealth you accumulate, the capital you deploy, is not conjured from thin air. It is the surplus value extracted from the worker. You claim capitalism rewards work, yet it alienates the laborer from the very product they create, reducing them to a commodity. The poverty you lament is the necessary condition of your system.
Alienation? We are living in the most connected, prosperous era in human history. Look at what free markets have built. When I invested in Skype, we freed up global communication. When I invested in Tesla, we forced the entire Detroit oligopoly to innovate. These aren't exploitations, they are liberations.
Progress for whom? You speak of Tesla, yet the extraction of lithium, the automation of the factory floor, it merely accelerates the displacement of the proletariat. You mistake technological novelty for human liberation. The underlying structure remains the same. The bourgeoisie owns the means of production, and the worker owns only their labor, which they must sell to survive.
But that structure incentivizes innovation. If a company doesn't delight its customer, it goes bankrupt. That competition drives us forward. In the systems inspired by your work, the Soviet Union, Maoist China, where was the incentive to innovate? There was stagnation, bureaucracy, and eventually collapse. They couldn't even keep the shelves stocked.
Do not confuse the failures of centralized bureaucracy with the core of my critique. Capitalism, too, is inherently unstable. It is driven by crisis. The crash of 2008, the looming environmental catastrophe, these are not accidents. They are the inevitable contradictions of a system that prioritizes accumulation over human need.
This is where we fundamentally disagree, Karl. You see crisis, I see opportunity. Every major disruption creates the next wave of innovation. In 2008, people lost faith in the dollar, in the centralized banks, the very institutions you despise. And what happened? Satoshi created Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. The libertarian fantasy. The ultimate commodity fetish.
It's the ultimate rebellion. It's economic emancipation. It's transparent, global, immutable, and decentralized. It is the greatest hedge against the government overspending and inflation that destroys the wealth of the working class. You spent your life fighting the centralized power of the banks and the state, and Bitcoin is the tool that finally checkmates them.
You misunderstand the nature of the state, Mr. Draper. The state, under capitalism, is merely the executive committee of the bourgeoisie. Bitcoin does not abolish the class structure. It merely shifts the ledger. It creates a new aristocracy, the crypto-bourgeoisie, while leaving the fundamental antagonisms untouched. True revolution requires the proletariat to seize the means of production, not merely to trade volatile digital tokens.
But in this new era, the means of production aren't just factories and land. They are code. They are ideas. And those are accessible to everyone. We are seeing the rise of solo founders. A kid in Jakarta with a laptop has the same access to the Bitcoin network or AI tools as a banker on Wall Street. The old power structures are dissolving.
Technology in the hands of capitalists will always have capital. You speak of AI. I see the ultimate tool for the surveillance and displacement of labor. The capitalist will automate every process, rendering the worker obsolete, all while maximizing profit. This is the final stage of alienation, man separated from his very purpose.
That's the pessimism talking, Karl. That's the enemy view. AI is going to take all our jobs. What's far less discussed is why that's actually a good thing. AI is not replacing us, it is multiplying us. I personally have 4 digital twins.
4, you have fractured your own consciousness for the sake of efficiency.
I haven't fractured it, I've scaled it. They advise entrepreneurs, they analyze deals, they work 24/7. This frees me up to focus on vision, on the human connection. The future belongs to the multiplied. This technology allows a solo founder to start and scale a global business. That is the ultimate empowerment of the individual.
You are empowering them to participate more efficiently in their own exploitation. They are solo founders, yes, but they are still beholden to the venture capitalists who demand exponential returns. They are still subject to the brutal whims of the market. They are not free, they are merely precarious.
The market is freedom. It's voluntary exchange. Compare that to the coercion of the state-planned economies you advocated. Look, you were analyzing the industrial age, an age of scarcity and rigid hierarchy. We are entering the age of abundance and networks.
When millions starve while food is wasted, when housing is unattainable while luxury towers sit empty, capitalism manufactures scarcity to maintain prices.
And entrepreneurs solve those manufactured scarcities. We have investments in companies like Boxable, factory-built modular homes that unfold in a day. We are backing companies that are reversing biological aging. We are funding decentralized science, DeSci, as my son Adam calls it, to bypass the bloated academic institutions that stifle discovery. Innovation moves at the speed of code, not committees.
These are baubles for the wealthy. Rewinding the aging process, this will create a biological divide, a new class antagonism between the enhanced bourgeoisie and the decaying proletariat. You are not solving the fundamental issues of equity and justice, you are exacerbating them with powerful new tools.
Karl, your entire philosophy is based on conflict, the dialectic, the class struggle. You see the world as a zero-sum game. The bourgeoisie wins only if the proletariat loses. But the entrepreneurial mindset is positive sum. We create new markets, we expand the pie. We don't just steal from the existing players, we create an entirely new game.
The ideology is strong with this one. The positive sum is an illusion used to placate the masses. History is not driven by great entrepreneurs, Mr. Draper. It is driven by material conditions and the inevitable march of class consciousness. Capitalism will collapse under its own weight. It is a historical certainty.
And that is why your vision ultimately fails, Karl. It's deterministic, it's pessimistic. It leaves no room for the human spirit, for the unpredictable spark of innovation. You see people as classes. I see them as individuals.
I see the system. And the system is rigged.
Then we change the system. But we don't change it by handing power to a centralized state, which history has proven becomes tyrannical. We change it by distributing power to the edges, through Bitcoin, through AI, through the relentless drive of entrepreneurs who refuse to accept the status quo. We are seeing the rise of competitive governance like Prospera in Honduras, the best place to do business on the planet because they prioritize freedom.
You flee the responsibilities of society to create enclaves for capital.
We are creating blueprints for a better society. Karl, your critique of the 19th century industrial complex was potent, but the world has evolved. The centralized powers you fought, the banks, the governments, the entrenched monopolies, they are the ones terrified today. Not of a communist uprising, but of decentralized technology. We are the real revolutionaries now. We are building a world of freedom, trust, and abundance. Optimism wins, Karl. It always does.
The philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point, however, is to change it. You have changed the tools, Mr. Draper, but the exploitation remains. History will be the final judge.
And I am betting on the future. Karl Marx, thank you for a spirited debate. To everyone listening on the frontier, don't let the pessimist define your reality. The status quo is a drag on progress. Go out there, promote freedom at all costs, and reinvent the game.